It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was the right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
But Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Wanna be held tight? Well, now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight...
To Hollywood, to the mayor's office, and now, behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody clapping out there. Nobody...
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! We are free at last!
Line 899-1550.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat. I'm old Alan Autry. It's Thunderous Thursday, so happy to have you with us here. A little disclaimer before we go. You might hear it in my voice right now. Woke up this morning, a little peaked. Felt it coming on last night. It's not COVID, but I'm by myself in here anyway. But, not feeling that great. But I got up and kept my routine. Went to the gym, got my full workout in. Man, it was like pulling teeth. but I got it in. Now, did you get your workout in? Now, I told you from the very first show, I was going to tout the importance of being as physically fit as you possibly can, regardless of your condition. You know, when I had my hips, I've had 2 hip replacements, but, you know, I didn't know how they were going to work out. And, you know, I was already thinking, well, if I have to spend the rest of my life in a wheelchair, how am I going to get my exercise? Well, I'll do my upper body good. I'll, you know, get out there and exercise the best I can if I'm in a wheelchair. Because, you know, my old friend and great advisor and mentor, Harold Zinkin Sr., told me. Harold Zinkin, by the way, is people in the bodybuilding business know him. He was a guru. He was an icon back in the Venice Beach Muscle Beach era. Just a fine man, and a better man than that I deserve to have in my life, to be honest with you. And he came on during the election, mayoral election here, and he just became not only a trusted advisor, but very close friend. But he was so big on physical fitness. And he had a saying, he says, it doesn't matter how good you feel or how bad you feel. If you get a little workout in, you're going to feel better. And boy, is he right. So anyway, I'm little disclaimer there. I may be doing some sneezing and hacking here. I'll try to hit the cough button for the radio folks, but in Facebook, you'll have to just close your eyes and kind of bear with me here, because I'm not a good, pleasant cougher or hacker. It's kind of ugly to deal with, but I'll do my best to control it. And by the way, we weren't on yesterday on Facebook. My apologies, but we got it fixed from what I understand. Just another thumbs up, Jeremy. We are on Facebook. Yeah, all right. Facebook. Okay, got that disclaimer out of the way. Let's we have to check in what's going on in Florida. I'm sure all of you have been following it to some extent. And, you know, sometimes these predictions of natural disasters, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcano eruptions, even, you can have these, predictions and of just absolute devastation. The hype is off the charts, and people are so scared, Y2K and all this stuff coming. And then many times when it happens, albeit not a pleasant experience, and there is some damage done, and tragically in some cases loss of life, but it doesn't come near what was expected or predicted. But this one, Hurricane Ian, by all measure, lived up to the hype, unfortunately. It's looking to be the biggest, most destructive storm in the history of Florida, and that's coming from no less than the leader there in Florida, Ron DeSantis, and hopefully in 2024, our leader of this nation. They're doing a great job in Florida to minimize the damage, minimize the loss of life, but there's only so much you can do. But the old saying, if you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. Well, this is by every measure. In terms of natural disasters in the form of hurricanes, there's no more prepared state than Florida. I don't think you'd get any argument from anyone on that. They really take it seriously. In Katrina, back in the day, they were just woefully ill-prepared. Even just trying to get out, people that wanted to get out, they had traffic jams everywhere. They had roads that were closed that should have been opened, but they were closed. They just didn't do the logistical due diligence that they should have done years before, and there was really no excuse for it. I remember being in New Orleans. We were getting ready to play the New Orleans Saints when I was with the Green Bay Packers, and I was down there, Bourbon Street, walking around. I went around the corner with a buddy of mine, and I looked out across the horizon, and you could see the sea out there, and you see the ships in the port there. And I turned to my buddy Tom Toner, who was outside linebacker for our team, and he was my roommate. I said, Tom, did those ships out there look like they're setting up higher than us? And he didn't say anything, but a fella that was sitting down on a little stool on the sidewalk shining some shoes said, yeah, because it is. It's higher out there. It's above sea level out here. We're below sea level. Well, immediately I thought, man, could that water, what's holding that water back ever break? And what it would do to New Orleans and the whole state if that broke with the ocean. Well, they never fixed that. They knew it was coming. They had warning after warning after warning, didn't do anything, and then you had the devastation of Katrina, tremendous loss of life, and sadly, you didn't have to have that level of loss of life if they would have been prepared. So we've had our first, CNN just reported, I think there's 8 or 10 reported deaths, probably going to be more. But on the whole scale of what it could have been, if this state would have been anywhere near as ill prepared as my great state of Louisiana, and I love them, they're great, great people. It's my home state. I got 2 home states in Louisiana and California, and a lot of my heart still in Georgia where we did Heat of the Night. But they're prepared, and it looks like the reason I brought that up is one of the big things that DeSantis made sure was in place was multiple ways to get out of there. They have a saying back there in Florida, Laura Fisher would tell you, said you hide from wind and run from water. Most of the buildings there in Florida, even in the toughest hit area where there was 150 mile per hour winds, most of the buildings constructed there can survive that. It's the massive amount of water. Folks, they're talking about 12 inches, 18 inches, in some places 30 inches of rain. And for somebody out here in California, when we get like 1/4 of an inch every 10 years, of course I'm exaggerating, but not much is what it seems like, that just blows you away. And then you have all of the flash flooding that goes with that. And that's what's really going on there and causing the most damage to property and the biggest threat to human life there. So anyway, I wish on the show, wish we had better news there. But, Florida will survive. They're very resilient. You hear that term used a lot, resiliency. New York had it after 9/11. You had, and Louisiana had it. New Orleans had it. A tremendous resiliency to fight back. It's just they should not have had to have that type of that hurricane be that devastating. So, and now it looks like the Ian has turned up, going to the north and hitting Jacksonville, the latest we heard. And the governor just came out with another statement I'm reading on Fox now. Got Fox Monitor right next to CNN. We are fair and balanced. I don't know about balanced when I'm behind the mic. I guess fair and imbalanced, whatever. But he says Ian has changed the character of Florida. One of those things that when you live through it, you'll never be the same. That doesn't mean they can't be better and stronger. But I guess this storm is so devastating. It's the next couple of days, it's going to be rough as well. It's not one of these storms that comes through and does its things and skedaddles out of the region. And it's also going to, looks like if this is still true, I heard this last night from the meteorologists on both channels, CNN and Fox, that thing's going to turn up towards South Carolina. Ian's going to go up South Carolina and Georgia. So they're going to get hammered as well. Most certainly not to the level of Florida, but you hope, are they prepared like Florida? Because if you're not prepared, you don't have to be hit as hard as Florida to have even more damage. So our thoughts and prayers, and people kind of poo-poo that. I don't want your thoughts. I don't want your prayers. Well, people have said that haven't really asked the people that are on the other end of whatever the disaster may be or the hardship may be. I've never met one person going through difficult times. When I said, I'll be praying for you, said, don't do that. Never. And I've said it a lot. Fortunately, you live through life 70 years like me. You see a lot, you experience a lot. Quite the contrary. You can see it bring hope to them. It burns a little less heavy when somebody says they're thinking of them, praying for them. So don't you let these jaded woke left. That's where it usually comes from. I'm sorry. It's your woke left people that are anti-God to begin with. Pray for them. As Jesus said, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. But as we send them the physical aid we need, that they need, rather, and all the material aids we need, lest we not forget to stay in prayer for those in Florida and Georgia and South Carolina. We had some callers. Are they still on? They disappeared from the screen. They're back on. We got Vicky from Tampa, Florida. Vicky, are you there?
I am here.
Well, welcome to the show. How y'all doing there in Tampa? Fill us in.
Well, we just got home, and luckily the biggest thing we can find is a lean in the fence.
Oh,
and
praise God.
Everything else is good.
Oh, my goodness.
We're still waiting on a surge.
Okay.
That'll come when the tide comes back in.
That's what they're talking about, Vicky. The tide's moving, kind of like a tsunami-esque type thing. It's moving away, gathering strength, and then we'll come back into the shore. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, it pulled all the water out. In fact, I sent you a video on your Facebook page last night.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
That shows that. It shows that exact thing.
Okay.
And you can see the seagrass in the bottom of the bay, and then you can see the water line that's out so many feet out yet, and that will start coming back in.
Yes, I will get that. I'll shoot. I can't get it right now, but I'll tomorrow's show. I'll definitely try to get that and show that. Thank you for sending that. Let me ask you this: when did you leave Tampa, and where did you go?
We left Tuesday, like late afternoon, and my youngest granddaughter lives up in Spring Hill, which is about 40-some miles north of Tampa. So we went up there and hung out for a couple of nights up there. And then when we got the word that everything was clear to come back, we left our electric on, so we kept checking our house cameras to make sure we had power before we could come home. So did
the power stay on the whole time?
Ours did, yes.
Oh, what a blessing!
Areas around us did not.
Wow, that's amazing. What a blessing. Now you said it was you, your husband. Who else went with you?
No, my husband passed in January.
I'm sorry.
It's just me, my son,
okay,
and two dogs and a cat.
There you go.
On a road trip.
There you go. Well, that's the way to look at it. And did you have any trouble getting out of Tampa? The drive, were you able to get there pretty unobstructed?
I'm actually in Clearwater, right on the coastline.
Okay.
We live like 4 miles from the coast, and so we just went straight up north. We're in a high area here because I'm on the very north edge of Clearwater, Tampa Bay, Palm Harbor, and Dunedin, and then Tampa is to the east of us.
Okay. Well,
so we're kind of surrounded by everything.
Right. Well, I know your heart. You were so fortunate and blessed that it seems like your home, your property's pretty much intact. You're back home, and I know your heart goes out for your neighbors and those that were hit, harder than you. But for
well, we have family down that way.
How are they doing? Are they okay?
So far, so good. I'm seeing and hearing and talking to them, and everybody's okay. They got minor branches and stuff down, but no real big damage so far.
Well, Vicki, I really appreciate you calling in and sharing this with us, and just so thankful to God that you and your family are safe, and be praying for you folks and your neighbors there in Florida, and just appreciate you calling in, and thank you for sending that video. And I'll try to look that up tonight and show it tomorrow on the show. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, Vicki. God bless.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, I'll do the best. I'll do my best and let God do the rest. Thank you. Is Laura still there? Yeah, Laura was on there, but she had a note. My eyes are not what they used to be. I looked up at the monitor, and I think part of her note said, a message there said she was on her cell phone. It was going in and out. So she was calling through the storm there, trying to give us an update. And that's our Laura. What a great contributor to the show. And as I said, we're working on a situation that could make her a regular voice during the week on a particular day. Laura's Corner. She doesn't even know this, but give her a little more something else on her plate as if she needs it. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back. Sadly, we got to talk about something that we knew was going to happen, and that's the left, folks on the woke left, and the people in the media trying to politicize this hurricane before it's even over. We know you're going to do it. You can't help yourself. You're like a starving dog in a meat house when you can see something that you can hang on the deplorables or Donald Trump or anybody else who has a few questions about climate change. We know you were ready to pounce, but dadgummit, at least let the hurricane get past, get out of there and settle down and let things just simmer down a little bit before you stop thinking about those that are in the danger and want to. I'm hanging in there, folks. Oh, man. That old crud gets in your voice, inside your head and your eyes. Yeah, red eyes, watery eyes. Oh, man. But you just got to keep pushing forward, right? I got to walk my talk. I talk about going get tough get going. Jeremy, you got to do it. But I tell you, sometimes these things can hit you. Some of these bugs can turn you from macho to mush. You can go from John Wayne to Pee Wee Herman with one fire. Well, I got to tell you, you got to hang in there to, Mom, honey, can you bring me some more warm tea? My head really hurts. We men are like that. We're like that. Don't kid yourself. Toughest guy behind, and wives know this better than anybody, and mamas. Because that's the two people you can just be your soft self around. Oh, man. Well, Alan, where does it hurt? Everywhere.
1 minute.
And then I'm trying to angle for like a little neck rub, a little shoulder rub. And she knows, my wife knows. Well, what about it? Just all hurts. Does one part hurt worse than the other? My neck a little bit. Yeah. Oh gosh, my neck. If it just loosen up, it would be okay. Finally, Alan, would you like me to rub your neck? Only if you want to.
30 seconds.
You dudes listening out there know what I'm talking about. There's some hard men out there that don't. They don't. And God bless them. And I ain't one of them. If I can get a neck rub, pity my wife into giving me a neck rub, I'm going to do it. You got Jeremy in there laughing
10 seconds.
there. Wait, you're going to be married someday, and all these words are going to come back to you.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
Well, welcome back to the show. Alan Autry, No Retreat. Got a little bit more about the storm, the huge storm going on in Florida. But it's amazing, that the left has the solution. They have the solution of how to stop hurricanes that have been around since recorded history, and most scientists believe hurricanes around since God created the earth, the heaven, earth, and the oceans. They've been here, but this one could have been prevented. This biggest one of all time. If you and I and everyone in the world were driving a Tesla, there would be no more hurricanes. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Until I watched that, flipped over to MSNBC the other night. I said, what's wrong with us? Oh, God, I contributed to this. All I had to do is find $68,000 and buy a Tesla and get everybody else to do it. There'd be no more hurricanes. I don't know. It was right there before your face, scientists, all these years. The woke left. They had it. Kamala Harris had the solution. The Noam Chomsky had the solution. The whole time, just simple equation: electric cars, no hurricanes. Well, I'm gonna extract my tongue out of my side of my mouth here. You know, as I said before we went to break, guess what? What's wrong with these people? And that's not being a partisan when I say that. When you call out something as obviously self-serving in the midst, I mean, you got a grievance in a family, you know, you may have been, some of the grievances are as lethal as you'd find anywhere within families. You know, they just hate each other. Brothers hate sisters, sisters hate brothers, sisters hate sisters, sisters hate cousins, this and that. Go on. But when dad's on deathbed, you don't go in the hospital room, gather them around, and just start bickering about who got this or that, or something that happened back in childhood that made you feel, you know, little to your brother or sister or what have you. You talk about who got the most out of the will or whatever. You don't do that. You wait until dad passes on, and then some time passes, give people time to mourn, and then get back at it if you have to. But this woke left here pushing this notion that there you go, those semi-fascists that believe in fossil fuels, that's what caused the hurricane. That's the best they could come up with. And it's what's really bothersome. If it was just some crazy, ill-informed, imbalanced voices in the wind out there, you could dismiss them. But there's millions of people that have bought that. It has become a religion to them. I've heard that quite a bit, that the climate change issue has evolved on the left from a very important issue that they embrace, wanting clean water, clean air, which we all want, to this crazy religion that they feel they have it within their power to control the weather, to absolutely control the weather around the world. Something, by the way, only God can do that. And I'm not saying I wouldn't drive an electric car, probably will. But I'm not going to sit here and say that everybody in the world drives electric cars. You're not going to have global warming. You're not going to have the water in the ocean get warmer. I mean, some of the hottest days on record, I think one of the hottest was 1910. Now, I don't even know how many jalopies were driving around spewing diesel in 1910. Now, I know there was a lot of horse farts and cow farts, but I don't think that there was enough out there to cause whatever happens, man-made, animal-made, to cause that global warming. And you go back further, and they were able to establish this by reading the rings in trees. Somehow, science, and there's unanimity on this, not just one crackpot out saying he can tell the weather back in the 1500s by looking at the rings of the trees. I don't understand it. Most of you don't understand it. I don't even try to get in the weeds on that. I'm going to accept them prima facie because there's unanimity on that prima facie assertion that you can pretty accurately determine weather in terms of heat by looking at those rings in the trees. Well, you know, the hottest years, there's like 3-4 years on record was like in the 1400s. Now, what was emitting? What factory in Rome was emitting toxic fumes? What airliner was flying from Babylon to, the Middle East? What spewing? Where did that stuff come from? What happened? I'm left with this determination. Here's where I stand on it. Yes, we could help overall. We, meaning the whole world, came together, which is a Herculean, if not impossible, feat to expect anyway. For China, Russia, and the United States and Western Europe to get on the same page. They sure are over in Ukraine, aren't they? On the same page in Ukraine. But I have no doubt that if you got everybody together and say, let's shut down every factory around the world, India, I know what to do to your economy, but shut it down. Everybody walks or takes electric mass transit if you want to get around. And this is to be done all over the world. Do not pump one more milliliter of oil. That's the rule. I have no doubt that the air would be a tad bit cleaner. But at what cost? Worldwide starvation? You want to see people starve over in Africa right now? Keep going in this new Green Deal disaster the way it's written. Because they don't care. Why? Because it's a religion. And in religions, people have to die. They look at starvation over in these third world countries as just part of what has to be done to get to the goal. It's a fake religion. It's a dangerous religion. But that's what a religion does. It doesn't matter who dies or what devastation occurs, how many people you hurt, because when you get to that end result, everything's going to be better for everybody. You get that zero emission around the world. Sorry, 10 million kids died in Africa. Sorry, another million died in the winter over in Eastern Europe and Western Europe during the winter. All of this, it doesn't matter. They don't, I'm convinced they don't care. Why? It's a religion. They believe that's just part of getting to the promised land. The promised land is a world with no fossil fuels. Be danged who gets hurt along the way, who dies along the way, how they truly devastate the planet. They say, what do you mean devastate the planet? Do you know how much we put it up on the screen? Jeremy, I did the other day. What it goes into to make one battery that goes into a Tesla or any other battery-powered vehicle. It will blow you away. We'll try to do that tomorrow. We'll show you this. Cobalt, copper, you've got all of these precious metals that have to be dug out of the ground to make one battery. You're going to destroy the landscape. And what does that? Heavy equipment. You can't run heavy equipment on solar. So you got to have the excavation to get all of these materials together to make one battery. Then you got to ship them on that. Put them on a truck. Put them on with spewing this stuff. Put them on a ship. Sail them wherever. Get your battery made at the local factory, usually in China for slave labor, by slave labor. The Uyghurs will be big battery makers. Believe me, they already are. And you look at the cost, because here's the one, there's two questions, and Thomas Sowell points this out, that the left in their propositions that they put forward, 90% of the times can't answer. That is, where's the evidence? Okay, you say there's systemic racism all over America in all of our institutions, not just certain people in a police department, university, whatever. It is systemic. The way it's all put together is systemically racist. And you ask them, where's your evidence? Because if you got evidence that that's happening, I not only won't oppose it, I'll be right there with you. Let's go get them. Let's go burn the sucker down. I'm with you. But they never provide that. They just throw out the accusation. The threat to democracy. Well, what's the threat? Let's isolate the threat. Show me one, so let's go together. You can convince me, because I love democracy. I would, at this age, I would die to protect democracy for my kids and grandkids and everybody else's grandkids. I would. That may sound strange to some of y'all. It says in the Bible, if you love your life, you'll lose it. I like being here, but I don't love this life. I'm looking forward to the afterlife, but I want to leave an existence behind that my kids and grandkids and your kids and grandkids can have a chance to live 11 dreams like I have. And this new Green Deal is just going to destroy all of that. But they can't answer, the left, in almost every case, can't show the evidence of what to back up their accusation. Then the second question, well, everybody's got to go to battery-operated cars. We have to completely get rid of, completely wipe fracking, drilling, fossil fuels off the face of the earth. What they don't tell you is those fossil fuels are used to make these things too. These phones, pretty much everything you use every day in your house has some petroleum in it, fossil fuels. And I get what they're saying from, they're talking about transportation. But you ask them, okay, let's do this. You want to do this? Let me ask you one question. At what cost do we do this? Not just economically, but quality of life and loss of life. You shut down petroleum being able to ship food over to third world countries. Do you see what this little supply chain crisis had with food? You look in there and, there's not as many choices for bread. Instead of 400 choices for bread, there's only 150 and we go crazy. But can you imagine what it is over in Africa? Some of these third world countries. They literally starving to death. And you look at what's power, and they want to shut down farming over in Europe and Sweden and the other countries over there. They're supplying most of the food that goes to those third world countries. Some of the richest farmland in the world over there in Europe. Here in the Central Valley, we have some of the richest in the world. We just shut it down. At what cost? See, they don't, if it's a religion, you feel you don't have to go down and explain it, even to the best of your ability. Most people, when they have a belief, they look forward to sharing that belief with others. Christians is called evangelism. People, it's something I feel, I think it's great. I want to share this with others. I want to explain the basics, and I'm going to explain what it is and why I think it's good for you. Not only you, but good for all of society. You look forward to that. And good politicians have a set of beliefs that they're eager to have those beliefs put to test, to discuss them, to debate them. You don't see that on the left. They will not sit down and debate anyone who's any good at debating why they feel open borders are good for this country and even good for the immigrants that are being raped and murdered and human trafficked all over the country. To sit down and defend it and say, this is why open borders are good. They won't sit down and say, here's why we think no cash bail in the middle of a crime crisis, why being soft on crime and hard on victims is good for public safety. They won't sit down and debate that. God bless those who will. But Gavin Newsom says the right is winning the narrative and it's driving him crazy. Well, Governor Newsom, challenge somebody. Does it have to be DeSantis right now? By the way, he's a little bit occupied. Pick somebody else. Go on these shows that differ from you. Excuse me. And offer to debate them on why you think illegal immigration should be the law of the land. There should be no punishment. That crime should be allowed to go unpunished. Why no cash bail is is good. Why inflation is great. Why 13% taxation on people that are barely making it here in the state is good for them. Take your set of values, cinch up, go forward, evangelize this religion that you have. Convince people. But they won't. Now I'm going to say something, and you know, to break it's kind of rough. There's no getting around it. And that's a lie about it and deceive. They do not, they know what they believe this religion they're trying to sell is not something that a rational, intelligent individual who cares about their own welfare, but also believes that their concern about their own welfare, that concern extends beyond themselves to their neighbors, in their community, to their state, to their country, and the welfare of the world. They want to keep people, their supporters, as enabled, as dependent on government, and asking as few questions about what the party is doing. The critical thinking that all of our used to be the cornerstone of education, K through 12, question authority, truth to power, asking questions. Just keep your eyes open and watch, folks. See where those qualities are alive and well. See where they're even alive. They're certainly not well. I can't find it anywhere on the left in the media. Nowhere where you have somebody on the woke left supporting critical race theory, supporting open borders, supporting spending gazillions of dollars on the war in Ukraine, that supports saying that inflation is good, Pete Buttigieg's position, eager to sit down and discuss that. Not only with somebody who disagrees with that and have that good debate and discussion, even their own supporters, especially poor minorities who are going to suffer the most from these ill thought out, I'm going to stop calling them policies. They're these basic religious tenets that this woke left embraces. It's that dangerous. And if you look at the polls, I'm astonished. You know, watch it, folks. We're going to get more in the midterms of what's hit this country. The most radical, destructive policies, tenets ever imposed on a country. But not really imposed. You vote for them, you get what you get. And we're running the risk, I feel, if we don't stop this and stop it now and bring sanity and reason back to the table, this hole that's being dug by the shovel of stimulus checks, all this free money, telling people, hey, you don't really have to work. And by the way, you can quit at work. Just call it quiet quitting. You don't have to work hard. You don't even have to work at all. Money's free. Hate your country. Hate each other if they're not the same color. Is going to be the dominating forces in this country. And if that helps us, if that happens in this midterms coming up, God help us. God help us. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat. We'll be right back.
The party's over. They say that all good things
Oh, folks, did you hear about that pipeline, the Russian pipeline that was blown up? The Nord Stream, or as Jean-Pierre likes to say, the Nordstroms. Yeah, I got to cut her a little slack. I've said that on occasion. It just sounds, boy, they were all over her. That pipeline that Russia's sending all the way to the to the clothing stores in Fresno, the Nordstrom pipeline. Or do they go to Nordstrom Rack or just regular Nordstrom? No, the Russians, they'd sell that oil anyplace. But anyway, they're saying United States officials whom we can trust, right? Oh my goodness, I am so cynical, but that cynicism has been well earned. They think that Putin blew up his own pipeline. Is there anything evil that Putin has not done?
1 minute?
Is there anything evil that he hasn't done? He's a bad dude, no doubt about it. But man, what a cop-out. What person's going to blow up their lifeline? That's the only thing that keeps Russia afloat, being able to ship oil. There's, as I said, they're not a country, they're a big gas station. So he's going to blow up his own pipeline. Weaken his position in Ukraine. And this guy making the accusation is John Brennan, the former head of the CIA. Yes, in my experience, see him on CNN last night.
20 seconds?
In my experience, this is all the indications that this is a Russian sabotage. Say what? Did that come out of his mouth?
10 seconds?
Oh, man.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat. Again, apologize for my voice, my eyes, my coughing, my face. We're back on Facebook. But hey, it's the one God gave me. Blame him. You got to tune in. I wish I looked more like Tom Selleck. Do you see Selleck on this? Guy's almost 80. God, he looks good. Those guys like that, I got too much Cherokee in me. I'm going to say it's going to get in trouble, but I can say it because I got a lot of Indian in me. Us Indians, we don't age well. It's just one of those things, man. I got rows in the face you can plant corn in. But hey, we got just a few minutes left. We'll hit this more tomorrow, but a big shout out to our very own Aaron Judge. And I say very own because Aaron Judge played at Fresno State. Fine young man. Tied the American League home run record with his 61st home run last night. And you ready for this, Jeremy? You know who he gave the ball to? The historic ball? To his mama. His mama was in there. And there's he. It's just a wonderful, wonderful human being. And let me tell you how, to say this, I would have been anybody but him. I would be bothered because I am a die-hard Yankee fan. I don't know where it seeped into my soul. I think I was about 7 or 8 years old, but I became a Mickey Mantle fan. Maybe it's because he's from Commerce, Oklahoma. Mom's from Oklahoma. I don't know, but I mean, you talk about a religion. It was almost a Mickey Mantle religion. So I get, you say anything about Mickey, you're in for a fight with me. Mickey May, who's better, Mickey Mays or Willie Mays? Don't even say Willie Mays in the same breath as Mickey. But as you get older, Willie was probably better than Mickey. Mickey didn't even say that. An overall ball player. But the Yankees, my team, and I just don't want those records to be broke. When Babe Ruth's record was broke by Roger Maris, a lot of people didn't want Roger to break the record. I didn't mind because he was a Yankee. All right? He's a Yankee. And here we have the record being broken by Aaron Judge. And I just wanted it was from my era. You know, now you have the young guys there playing. It stood for so long. But I tell you, I'm just happier than a pig in doo-doo for this. That if it's going to be broke, that record, and it will be, he's got, I think, about 9 games to go. Hit one more. He will set, again, the American League record, the Yankee record, of course, but also an American League record, 62. Bonds has the overall record. Of course, he has a little asterisk by it because apparently the rumor is he had little juice, little help. Babe Ruth ate hot dogs. Barry, they say, used something else, but I don't know if we'll ever know that. He's got the record, so congratulations to Barry. But it was just great to see a good guy do something like that and not go out and just talk about himself, how great he is, and do the crazy stuff and put all the attention on him. This kid's something special. His mama did well raising him. And I feel like I know the values of his mother because I watch him. And those things don't come natural. Being gracious when you're asked stupid questions over and over. You're in a slump where you haven't had a homer in 21 games. You hear some of the people booing, yet you don't get bitter. You say you understand that could happen. You're in a bad stretch and you need to play better. Putting his teammates first, calm under pressure. And it's no wonder his one of his heroes, Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter was the same way. But even Aaron Judge, I think, is even more humble. I don't know either one of them, really. I know people who know Aaron because of the Fresno State thing. I'd love to have him on the show. Maybe we'll see if we can get blessed and have him come on sometime. But they're heading for the playoffs. They have a good chance to make it to the World Series. But big shout out to Aaron Judge, and way to go, Aaron, and just stay the same young man you are. And I think he will because of those values that was instilled in him. And a tip of the Hajib to the Iranian women. I know I've been following this, but Iran, there's probably no more oppressive theocracy on the planet. I'm thinking here, that's why I'm hesitating a little bit, just because there's some oppressive ones out there. Go to Saudi Arabia, but Iran is probably the top dog in terms of oppressing women, and probably by a significant margin. They don't allow much of anything in terms of getting out of line if you're a woman. In fact, they have a thing called the morality police. And the morality police take you in if you're not towing the line Islamically. You're not doing the right thing out in public, and especially for women. And apparently this young lady was brought in because she was wearing her hijab, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, was being worn wrong. Now, the story we're getting out right now, and this may not be 100% accurate, but she had the hijab on. She didn't defiantly take it off, but it was just something, the way she was wearing it, I guess. Took her in. Well, she died in custody under very suspicious circumstances. Well, that was finally enough for the Iranian women. And this movement started. I don't know exactly where in Iran, because they try to, watch whatever comes out of there. Videos, they try to censor everything. But I guess this protest was so pervasive around the country that they really couldn't control it. And so there was video being leaked out of Iranian women taking off their headwear, their hijabs, and throwing them into a fire and saying, "We've had enough of this. Enough's enough. You've gone a bridge too far." And I don't know, the mullahs, the head guy there, who's not a mullah, they have like figurehead president and so on, but it's an absolute theocracy. The religious leaders are calling the shots with the president they put out there. Like Ahmadinejad, not too long ago, was the president there. Well, the spiritual leaders tell him what to do. The lineage that comes from Ayatollah Khomeini. But they don't really know what to do. So I guess the head dog is going to, I don't mean that, well, take that for what it is. The head guy there in Iran called a press conference, and they just don't know what to do with this. They're hoping it'll settle down. They've never dealt with something like this. And as I said, in the old 60s, there was a slogan during the 68 riots, Democratic National Convention, the mantra of the whole world is watching. Well, they had video back then, but not like today. Literally, the whole world is watching Iran and how they deal with this. And I just, I look at the women around the world. My goodness, something's going on. You've got Liz Truss making it to the Prime Minister of Great Britain. You have Meloni over in Italy, this young lady. You have the young lady in Sweden rising to the top leadership position. And you have this young lady, Marie Le Pen, in France, although she didn't beat Macron. She came real close. And, you know, when women decide to put their foot down and get involved, things happen. Things happen. And our own country is proof of that. I don't know who could have convinced the country or put enough intimidation in lawmakers' hearts and minds and souls that they would outlaw alcohol. But it was the women who got prohibition put through. Now, you can argue prohibition, good, bad, or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, you had a nation that was in love with their liquor. But the women said, hey, these guys are coming home. They're irresponsible. They're not good fathers. A lot of them are beating on their wives. This thing is out of control. We need to stop it. And they did. The women's right to vote, which came way too late in our history. But the women said enough's enough. And there's just something about when those sisters and those mamas and those grandmas get out there that I know for me, I was a mama's boy. And you're not supposed to play gender or this and that. Well, you know, to heck with that. You know, when a strong, good-hearted woman speaks, and a woman who cares, I listen. I listen with both ears. So anyway, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. We've never seen anything like it around the world of women saying, hey, give us a shot. You know, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for putting up with me. God bless you. God bless America. Remember, just do your best. Let God do the rest. Prayers to all those in Florida, and good luck.